Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Raffi Wizdaan Albari. I'm from Physics 1. I would like to presentation my experiments about resonance. Okay, the contents. This is the contents that I would like to presentations. The first is definitions. The second is purpose. The third is experiment procedure. The fourth is analyze data, and the last is conclusions. You know, the human will die if they not eat for 1 year, and you cannot put her on his hand if you die. Okay, the definitions. The definition from resonance is an event where an object vibrates due to another object vibrating at the same frequency or an integer multiple of that frequency. The purpose of this experiment is, first, understand the phenomenon of resonance. Second, understand sound waves in air. The third, understand the working principle of the resonance tube. And the last is determines the speed or velocity of sound in air. The equipment tools used in this experiment is resonance tube equipped with a piston. The number 2 is audio frequency generator or IFG. The third is speaker, and the last is connecting table. This is the experiment procedure. The step-by-step in this experiment is, the first, room temperature was measured, ensuring the position of the piston is on the surface of the tube. Second, turn on the audio frequency generator or IFT after the mode of the sonar tube and start at 300 Hz. Set the amplitude as low as possible while slowly pulling on the piston until hear the first lock. At this time, the first resonance is said to occur. Measure the distance between the mouth of the tube to the piston, length of the air column, or L1. The third is continuing to slowly pull the piston in until a second loud hum is heard. This moment is said to be the second resonance. Measure the distance between the mouth of the tube to the piston, the length of the air column. And the last is repeating activities 1 to 3 above by varying the frequency value on the IFT. Okay, this is the data experiment obtained from the experiment. As you can see in screens, we have frequency 300 frequency. We have length 1 is 0.276 meters and length 2 0.84 meters, and the velocity is 338 meters per second. And as you can see in frequency 800 Hz, we have length 1 is 0.106 meters and length 2 is 0.32 meters, and the velocity of the sound is 342.4 meters per second. Okay, the data experiments. The data experiments in X and Y is obtains the data. Okay. This is the graph. The graph is, there is a steady increase of the sound of the river. And then we can, based on the graph, we have 10 alpha 1 is 336 meters per second, 10 alpha 2 is 352 meters per second, and 10 tangent alpha 3 is 343.75 meters per second. And the tangent alpha is same as velocity. So we have the velocity, the V0 is 336 meters per second, V1 is 352 meters per second, and V2 is 343.75 meters per second. And this is the analytic of the data. From the analytic of the data, we have the average of the velocity of the sound is 343.51 meter per second, and the delta V is 11.875 meter per second. So we have the velocity of the sound is 343.91 plus minus 11.875 meter per second. Okay, the discussions. In this experiment, a sound resonance experiment was carried out using a resonance tube. This experiment was carried out with the aim of understanding the phenomenon of sound wave resonance in air when resonance occurs and determining the speed of sound in air. The experiment was carried out by turning on the audio frequency generator and adjusting the frequency to 300 Hz and adjusting the volume. Then the experiment was carried out by pulling the piston on the resonance tube, so that the first noise was heard, and then look for the second noise tone, and express it as the second resonance. The next step is to reduce the trial by changing the frequency and analyze it. We get the first, second, and third velocity speed is obtained 336 meters per second, 352 meters per second, and 343.75 meters per second. And the average of velocity speed is obtained 343.91 meters per second. And from that, we obtained the velocity of sound in air is 343.91 plus minus 11.875 meters per second. And from that, we get the conclusions from the experiments is the first, the resonance is the event that an object vibrates with the vibration of another object, where the frequency of the vibrating object is the same as the source that vibrates it. The second, sound waves are generated by vibrating objects, causing density disturbance in the mediums. The third is the greater the frequency, the closer the location of lens 1 and lens 2. The fourth is the higher of frequency, the smaller the wavelengths of sound. And the last is the value of sound velocity based on experiment is 343.91 plus minus 11.875 meters per second. Okay, thank you. That's all from me. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.